to another Scott Sports Show. I am your host, Tyler Trumbauer. The Edinboro softball team has been in a battle with Mother Nature so far this season just to be able to get on a field. The ladies have been able to play a few games and are 9-6-1 overall and 1-4-1 in the PSAC. To talk about that start, I'm now joined by, on the show, to my immediate right, we have head coach Dan Gierlach. In the middle, we have Brooke Callaghan. And then on the far side, it seems so far away, we have Courtney Corpus here on the Scott Sports Show. Thank you for joining me today. Everybody appreciate it. Coach, you've been around softball, especially here in Edinboro, for quite some time. How badly has this beginning of the season been with Mother Nature?
It's been, normally we have problems here, but it's the rest of the state. I mean, last Friday, nobody played in the state. So everybody's seeing what we go through every year. Now they're getting a taste of, exactly what we have to do every year to get the field ready, to get kids in and out of classes, and I think everybody's in the same boat now, and they're seeing what we do, year in and year out. But this has probably been the worst overall winter, that we had, or spring, and probably the other side of that is we have 32 conference games this year. So that has added to it too. So you need almost every day you can play.
Yeah, and there's not too many days you actually can play thus far. Brooke, from a player perspective, what is that like to just, you can't get into a rhythm when you're practicing, it's mostly inside, and so then your only outside time is game time. Just what is that like from a player to not be able to play a lot and just really struggle to get some decent practice time in?
It's kind of disappointing, especially going from outside and then practicing into the dome. But we just have to keep our spirits up and just be ready to play whenever we're able to get outside.
And so far you've done that so well, 9-6-1 overall this season, 1-4-1 in the PSAC. A lot of those wins coming down in the spring break trip. Even then there were some Mother Nature troubles as well. Coach, in your words, how has this start of the season been for the ladies?
Well, I think we beginning of the season was good. Then you take 11 days off. That makes it tough. Mm-hmm. But we also played, Gannon, who has not lost in the conference yet, and we should have beaten them, and they know that. But it was good games against them, and then we played California, and again, they've been outside a little more seasoned team. Playing Seton Hill this past week, I think we got ourselves on track. And the more we can play, the better we're going to be. The less time in between. I think we had some things we had to work on, before we played again, and the kids have done a nice job with that. Working on their weaknesses and especially in hitting, to try to change some things. So we've accomplished that a little bit, I think. Now we just get outside and play.
Yeah, definitely. Courtney, the PSAC schedule, as Coach alluded to, has been tough so far. You had Gannon, you have Cal, who, that was a tough doubleheader itself. Starting it out in the PSAC like that, what do the ladies learn? Because, it maybe probably grounded you a little bit with such the great start, and you're like, well, now we're into the hard PSAC schedule. So what do you feel of that start? It's obviously numbers will show it's not idealistic, but I'm sure you've learned something from those six games.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that it gives us, if anything, motivation now to really just put ourselves out there, because we know what level we can play at, and it's just getting to that point, and I think we're going to be able to start off from there and be able to kick off and start off good.
Eventually, you'll be able to kick off there.
Yeah,
we got false starts keep coming here. Brooke, for you, did have 2 PSAC games last week. Hope to have a lot more, but the rain and such didn't help out with that. Against Seton Hill, it was an 8-6 win, which you keyed a lot in with a big home run late in that one to give the go-ahead score and eventually the victory. And then also in Game 2, which ended up being a tie after 7 innings with the solo shot. That hitting earned you Female Scott of the Week for this week, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And then also, just what was that day like for you for hitting? Coach alluded to hitting earlier. Just how do you feel at the plate thus far?
Well, I really wasn't having much success in the first 2, against Cal and Gannon. But in Seton Hill, I just went up with a different approach. I just was relaxed. I said to myself before that hit, I just said keep it simple. What my team needed. We needed to be uplifted in spirit. So I know that that had to be done. I didn't go up to the plate, though, hoping to hit a home run. I just wanted to get a base hit, and that's just what happened.
How good was that, though, to be able to help get that first win, get that first PSAC win out of the way with such the tough start, as you mentioned, with the tough Cal and Gannon, to finally get that first PSAC win under your belt, and then also you kind of helped out a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, it felt great. I mean, everybody loves to be like in the limelight, but I couldn't have done it without my team. I mean, they held it down on defense. Our pitching was excellent, and then a lot of like Teresa Fleckenstein. She had big hits in the games, but I mean, it felt good. Obviously, everybody likes to like win the game for someone, but I couldn't have done it without my team. So I'm glad that we were able to do it.
I hit a game-winning home run too once,
Yeah.
but then I woke up. For you, just started this season. Brooke just alluded to pitching. Taylor Payne's been working a lot as well in the circle. Pitching, we talked earlier in this season about how good that was going to be as a positive aspect for your team. What do you feel about your rotation thus far?
Well, I think right now, the more we get outside, the more game, the better we're going to be. Whether it's Taylor, whether it's Colette. Colette's starting to throw well, except she threw a lot of pitches in Seton Hill, which is probably more pitches than she's thrown in 2 years at one outing. So, I think Carrie Stevens has really come on. Taylor's always got the junk rolling, so at any time she can be called on. So I think the pitching, the more we play in the conference, the more confidence that they will have. And that's apparent. And the one thing I want to say with Courtney, hit her first home run at California. Being a senior, and it was her grandmother's birthday that day too. So there was double.
There you go. That's what you were waiting for, right?
Yeah.
Did you tell her that?
Well, she was there actually, so it was perfect. Yeah.
There you go. You couldn't get much better than that. Courtney, obviously coming off the great bomb that was for Grandma that day. How do you feel individually with the start of this season, and obviously kind of going with the team aspect as well? How do you feel you're doing? How do you feel they're doing in the first 15, 16 games?
I feel that if anything, because especially being a senior, you're starting to realize more. Because you always think senior year is so far away, but now it's getting down. I think 36 days till I graduate. So it's really getting to the point where it's like you play every day because you only know that this could be your last game. And trying to get like all the teammates, just everybody's just getting everybody motivated, and just being able to go ahead and get everybody to kind of move along to the point where
that senior leader.
Yeah.
How is that for you thus far, being that now elder on the team?
Yeah, I'm more of like a leader that kind of goes by example. I'm not really much of a vocal type leader, but everybody does really well with like being able, if they see something like we have to pick up the balls or something, everybody's really good about that. So
it's still a collective unit. Totally understand, Coach. So now, kind of projecting ahead, the schedule shows that you're supposed to have 5 straight home doubleheaders upcoming, starting later this week. So I'm not a statistics man, but the probability of those being played, if you want to put a numerical figure on that?
It's tough because you don't know, like the field is finally drying out. And not just the field, it's around the field because of all the snow.
Yeah.
But that's starting to dry out, and it's starting to rain right now. So
and for the next 4 days.
Next 4 days.
Yeah, might want to build an arc.
We're going to try to go to Slippery Rock tomorrow on Tuesday, play them, and then we get a lot of home games, which is great for these kids in classes. At least we're not on the road a lot. We did a lot of that early, and now allows us to concentrate a little bit more. We can stay in classes a little longer. So, but it's a matter of field's ready, we're playing. And that's how it has to be. And these guys have been here long enough that they understand that's just how it's going to be.
Exactly. So last week it was rained out, but last week you were hoping to be the home team at Slippery Rock, but unfortunately that didn't pan out. So if the field, say we do just get drenched this week in rain, will that be another avenue you will explore to try to get these home doubleheaders in?
We will try is any way we can to get the games in. I mean, we were supposed to play Mercyhurst up at high school field, turf. That got snowed out. So we've tried different things to get games in to get the kids ready to play or get them to play. That's the hardest thing is go in the dome, go to outside, go. We've used the turf a little bit to hit on. Then you got lacrosse in there, at certain times. So we try to makeshift some things, whether it's a dome or being outside, just to get outside and stay game ready.
Maybe we'll have to see if the Zaffarowski Sports and Rec Dome can be put into a field for a game. Bruce is coming up. I'll ask him about
that. You ask him about that.
I'll see what I can do for you, Coach. Brooke, with the upcoming games, hopefully upcoming games eventually. What does this team need to do to make sure that A, you keep that winning record overall, and B, you turn around that rough PSAC start?
I think that we just all need to stay up and not get down on ourselves. But honestly, with these games coming up, I think that we're more than prepared. I think that everybody got like the jitters knocked out of them, and we're just ready to show the PSAC like what we can do.
Let's see if you can show them all. You know, 1, you need a field, 2, you need good weather, and 3, you just need to show up and play. And hopefully you ladies can do that. And Coach and ladies, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The ladies are scheduled to have 5 straight home doubleheaders, as I mentioned, starting on Friday. And moving on, you got Cal, a bunch of other ones coming up. So hopefully, if they do play, come out and support the Fighting Scots. Coming up next, I'll be joined by Edinboro's Director of Athletics, Bruce Baumgartner, to discuss what the athletic department is working on for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Edinboro University, specifically its athletic department, has been dedicated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation the last few years, being tops in the PSAC and one of the best in Division II with Make-A-Wish donations. The Scots are at it again with their 7th annual Student Athlete Auction, which will be held on April 16th at 8:30 p.m. in the multi-purpose room in the Pogue Student Center. To talk about that now with me, I have Edinboro's Director of Athletics, Bruce Baumgartner. Bruce, the athletic department is really gone all in with Make-A-Wish, and specifically the SAC committee for Edinboro here. Just talk about that and how did it get started, and now we're full-fledged with Make-A-Wish.
Right. Well, our Student Athlete Advisory Committee, which is representatives from all of our different teams, meet about once a month, twice a month with myself and Roy Shin, our faculty athletics representative. And the NCAA's charity of choice per se is Make-A-Wish, and each Division II institution tries to raise money and for Make-A-Wish, and Edinboro University raised a little over $10,000 last year and was third in all of Division II, number 1 the PSAC. But it really started out as just a great group of athletes wanting to give back into the community, because the money that we raise, Tyler, stays right here in northwestern Pennsylvania, and we've been very, very fortunate to have 2 reveals. One, a young man from Warren received a dog last year, and a 10 or 8-year-old girl received a trip to Hawaii just this February from our athletes, our communities, efforts in the Make-A-Wish, and we're real excited about it. We do other projects in the SAC also, but that's one of our leading projects. Make-A-Wish,
exactly, yes, and that's something that they harp on, and they've done a great job with it thus far, exemplary in Division II and in the PSAC. Another event, other than just overall donations, is the Student Athlete Auction. This is the 7th annual one. It's going to be held, as I mentioned in the opening, in the Pogue Student Center. So just talk a little bit about that. I know last year you jumped into the mix as well, and you were, from what I hear, one of the top getters for this auction. So what all goes into that?
Well, that's just it's a fun night. It's become something I think where a lot of our athletes look forward to. A lot of our teams do videos and different skits, and it's open to the general public. So it is April 16th at 8:30 in the Pogue Center. It's free. We'll have refreshments. We hope you spend a little money and bid on some of our athletes to raise money for Make-A-Wish. But it's just our athletes put together, our teams put together some different skits. We try to make it entertaining. And then all the proceeds from the auction, as we auction off the athletes, the proceeds go to Make-A-Wish. And that's kind of the neat thing. We'll have our video that we produced, actually that you produced for us, will be one of the first things up. We hope to have, and Bella's scheduled, the girl that got the trip to Hawaii is scheduled to be there, with her illness, if it's okay. If not, we'll have another Make-A-Wish person. So it's just a great evening that our student athletes look forward to. And I think over the years, and it's really been very, very successful of not only raising money, but awareness for the Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, it's just another event, as you mentioned, all being in northwestern PA, as Bella's coming in, short drive from Meadville for her,
right.
So gets to stay close to home here at Edinboro. For the student athletes, just talk about, because you say you meet a couple times a month, just talk about how excited they get about Make-A-Wish. I mean, they put everything together. You're advising them, but they just get so excited, and then also be a part of the reveal and be a part of the auction then.
I will tell you that the part that probably is the most exciting for me is that, you know, we were maybe, I would say, losing a little steam, but, you know, we're on our 7th one, and we've been doing Make-A-Wish for a long time. And then last year, you know, a year ago, we did the reveal for the boy from Warren. And when you actually saw the reveal, and then again this year for the girl from Meadville, boy, it just, you know, it really makes our students on campus, our student athletes, our fans, because we do the reveal in front of about 2,000 people at Macomb Fieldhouse, and it just energizes everybody. And we have such a great group of students on our campus and a great group of student athletes that are willing to give. I mean, we work in conjunction with Tim Thompson's communications class is doing a Make-A-Wish event that helps us raise money for the NCAA, you know, April 9th this week up at Buffalo Wild Wings, Wings for Wishes, and in their classes, and the health and physical education classes do things. So the university has sort of adopted this, a lot of organizations on campus, as something to get behind to help our students and teach our students how to give back into the community and how to do the right thing. I know for athletics, it's been awesome.
Yeah, and I remember talking to University President Dr. Julie Woolman after the reveal this year, and she said it's what a Fighting Scot is. It's really a university-wide thing. And it's exactly what we want to be as students of this university.
Right, and not only do the student athletes embrace it, you know, Dr. Thompson's communications class, our health and physical education club. I mean, we have people that want to give back on our campus. So just a great group of students on our campus that are willing to give back and make a, you know, young person's wish come true. And remember, you're helping a young individual, you know, one was, I think, 15 years old and one was 8 years old, that are maybe not terminally ill, but very severely ill children that are getting a wish, brightening up their life.
Yeah, and it's amazing when, as you said about that reveal, once you actually see that and see the euphoria that goes on their face when they receive it, that's something that really will just catch you for a second and really make you rethink everything.
Oh yeah, it does. It makes you feel how blessed we are that we're not dealing, you know, most of us aren't dealing with those type of situations, and to be able to give back and just to see our student athletes give back the way they do, and our whole campus community, it's a great feeling. That's what being an Edinboro student is. Giving back, getting a good education. It's just a great feeling.
And again, that is on Tuesday, April 16th at 8:30 in the multi-purpose room. Bruce, I would be remiss to let you go without asking you about this. The man that you are as an athletic administrator and a patron for the sport of wrestling, Cleveland State, looking at their wrestling program, thinking it might get cut, with wearing the hat as an athletic director and knowing the financial problems of schools, and with now being a wrestling legend that you are. Talk about it.
Well, you know, I'm very disappointed that decision was made. I am involved in the National Wrestling Coaches Association. You know, I work with some different committees that help save international wrestling. In fact, this week I'm going out to Sacred Heart and help them. That's a Division I program. I'll be out there Friday to meet with their administrators, and they want to see the Edinboro model, how a smaller school with less budget than most, well, not most, all of the other top 10 schools can compete. And you know, we have less scholarships, less staffing, less budget. We don't make excuses. We move forward. Our coaches, as in all of our sports, do the absolute best with what they have. So, you know, I believe I will probably be going out to Cleveland in the near future to maybe, you know, share with their athletic administration maybe a little bit how we do it here, and that. You know, it's about getting good people in place like Coach Flynn and Coach Moore, Coach Sponseller, and just, you know, you can be successful without huge resources. And I think, I believe the Coaches Association and other groups have been fighting very hard for the Cleveland State. The interesting thing about Cleveland State is they gave the challenge to the wrestling community to save it and raise money. They didn't drop it and cut it like a lot of sports. So I think the number that they have offered for the Cleveland community and the amount of resources they have in Cleveland will be very obtainable. So I think that program will be saved.
Yeah, just unfortunate to see it being on the chopping block and getting to that point. But
yes, it's crazy.
But hopefully you can show them that, you can do a lot with a little, and our fifth place and third place finishes as a team will show that. So thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it. Again, the auction is Tuesday, April 16th at 8:30 in the multi-purpose room in the Pogue Student Center. Be sure to make it out. Support Make-A-Wish, Edinboro student athletes. It'll be a fun night. I'll be emceeing the event, so that should just alone, have you make you come out. After the break, we'll spotlight this week's Scots of the Week and preview the upcoming schedule of events. Congrats to Brooke Callaghan of the softball team and Charles Ivy of the men's track and field team for being named this week's female and male Scots of the Week for Edinboro University. Callaghan, who we heard from earlier on this show, knocked a go-ahead home run in an 8-6 win against Seton Hill on April 2nd. Additionally, Callaghan clubbed a solo homer in Game 2 of the doubleheader with the Griffins. That homer was the only run for the Scots in that second game of the day, as the game ended in a 1-1 tie. Ivy competed at the SRU Open at Slippery Rock last Thursday. He won the 400-meter dash and finished third in the 200-meter dash. Ivy joins me now here on the show. Chuck, first off, congratulations on the Male Scout of the Week nod. Going in there, knowing the amount of PSAC talent, the weather, everything included, what were your goals for the SRU Open?
My goals, I would say, were definitely get a good time in, because I had a slow season starting off. I'm just trying to get back to where I stopped at last season, if that made any sense at all.
You kind of want to forget the beginning part and pick up where you left off last season. Do you have any explanation as to why there was a slow start for the season?
The off season, my off season, I got sick. A lot of doctors, I was running back and forth with the doctors. They trying to figure out what was wrong with me. At the end, I got it back together. They told me I was able to compete again, so I'm still trying to get my feedback on me, recover from there, get ready again. So
you missed a lot of training time overall. For the team, for them going into this upcoming week, you have the Kutztown Maltese, Westminster Invitational, and the Bucknell Distance Carnival. For the men's team, what's their mindset right now and moving forward?
Our mindset as a team is to get more people into the conference meet so we can have a higher team place finish overall. Some people made it, some people still try and get in there, like borderline getting in, but I do believe as a team we'll be able to get in as everybody makes it.
All righty, well, thanks, Chuck, and good luck moving forward. And again, congratulations on that nod. Now let's look at what is ahead for Edinboro University athletics. As I just mentioned with Chuck, track and field is at Kutztown Maltese on Thursday and Friday. Tennis is at women's tennis only at Seton Hill. Softball hopes to start their 5 double headers at home here as we move into the weekend. They'll have more double headers, hopefully. Track and field splitting up on Saturday. Women's lacrosse at Bloomsburg at 1. And on Monday, men's and women's tennis comes together against Roberts Wesleyan here on campus. So try to make it out and support Edinboro's student athletes at one of those events. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching, and go Borough.